So, hello and welcome to another episode of the Turn 5 podcast. This week, episode 14, we are reviewing the Styrian race, the W Series Support Series race, and looking ahead to Austria. We'll start with our usual brief race review, skimming over the caveat of there are only 3 of us this week, as Alex is not feeling very well and Chris is at work at Hampden Park, so isn't with us at the moment. So, Nia, a brief review, please.
Basically an Uno reverse card to France.
Ben?
I sleep in pain.
Yeah, it was pretty much the second snooze fest of the season, really. I mean, we always predicted Monaco wasn't exactly going to be a banger, but yeah, France managed to ditch the label of second snooze fest and pass it off onto Styria. So not a great race. I mean, the midfield was okay.
Yeah, there was some battles around maybe 10th, like 13th.
Yeah, but given
further than that wasn't much.
Given that Max was like 30 seconds clear. I mean, I know Lewis made an extra stop for fastest lap and that, but he was still comfortably clear. So yeah, at the front there wasn't really much going on, unlike the last few races we've had. So I feel like that's what separated it in terms of its excitement level. So we'll do what we always do, and we'll go back to the start and practice. We had some gusty winds, which meant that there was quite a few spinalas going on. Obviously, the spin king himself chucked an extra few in, so you know the counter's still rising. I need to update that actually. I need to update my tally. But other than that, the only other event was that Pierre Gasly did not run in FP2 due to a sensor issue in the power unit. I believe they changed his MGUK.
I think it was something like that. I didn't watch FP2 because I had to leave the house, so I don't remember. I didn't realize he didn't run. So
yeah, no, there was
maybe half an hour ago. I didn't realize he didn't run.
No, they were talking about it on the coverage, and I think it was one part of the engine that they swapped, but he still got enough of an allocation that it meant he wouldn't incur a grid penalty. Not that it really mattered, but we'll get on to that. Qualifying then, pretty standard run-of-the-mill qualifying, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Apart from Q2, there was a few upsets.
Yeah, but with the way that this season's been going, it's sort of Q2's always been the one that's thrown it up in the air.
Yeah, the Q2's been the one that's upset most people.
Except maybe Baku, where it was like, who isn't going to throw it in the wall?
Yeah.
It's always generally Q2 that, because the midfield is that tight now. It's no longer the Noah's Ark of 2x2 in the top 10. We had, what was it like? Well, obviously we had both Red Bulls and both Mercedes. We had both AlphaTauris, but then we had an Aston Martin, an Alpine, a Ferrari, and a McLaren. So I think it's Haas, Alfa Romeo, and Williams were the only teams to not get into Q3.
Yeah.
And Williams were in 11th.
Yeah, we had Sonoda, Block, Bottas.
Yeah.
Nice through place. Oh, that's a point. Bottas doing a spin.
Forgot about that.
That was interesting. That was completely stupid as well.
Yeah. I love how in the video you can see the McLaren team just standing there and didn't do anything until he started moving towards the front wings. Then they were like, stop.
What I find funny is that in the interview afterwards, Bottas was like, oh yeah, we were trying something new. We were trying pulling away in second gear.
Most of the other teams are doing that, aren't they?
But then Anthony Davidson drove the W12 in a piece for Sky, and it was wet at Silverstone, and he was like, yeah, second gear is definitely the one you want to be pulling away in. And it's like, oh, that's not gone well for you, Bottas.
Yeah, so... I remember like a couple of people saying I think it was McLaren are pulling away in second gear. So it's like That's not doing well for you, Bottas.
So I don't think it helped that you have that whacking great advertising strip of concrete down the middle, but you know, I think he's going to be looking for excuses wherever he goes.
Yeah.
Either way, embarrassing. I suppose the other big upset from qualifying is that Esteban Ocon failed to make it out of Q1. So, considering Fernando got into Q3, I mean,
just
the
going
Alpine
back to
did look like a bit of a dog.
Yeah.
So.
Just going back to Bottas just quickly. I suppose if they tried it out and put it out in second gear and he's not used to it, I guess I could see like if he's not used to it, then I could kind of see an excuse. But also,
there's a time and a place for that.
But he's also a professional racing driver, so like.
you also don't do it in the middle of a practice session when there's a bunch of mechanics in the next pit box down.
Yeah. But then again, when else are they going to do
it? They have test days. You can do it at the end of a session when the mechanics aren't standing out there.
But they did just change another piece of news. They changed the pit regulations things.
Yeah.
Something about that. So they were trying to make their pit faster. So I guess that's kind of the only place they could do it, unless they do it at the end, like you said, or like right at the very start where none of the other cars are out.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about that whole pit stop mandate that's coming in. That comes in effect from Hungary's race. So that's the last race before the summer break.
That's 31st to 2nd of August.
Yeah, so that'd be the last.
Yeah. See, I know my calendars.
I only know it. I only know it because I think I'm gonna have to miss that race, and I'm really sad about it.
It's fine. It's Monaco without the walls.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but it's a race.
Yeah, true. I've actually got this weekend off, so I don't even have to worry about going to work after this weekend. So that's good. Any other upset? Well, George Russell 8/1000ths of a second from getting into Q3.
Not a great weekend for George, is it?
I mean, the qualifying was great.
Qualifying was good.
I mean, and then Yuki's penalty. So he started P10 on a free set of tyres. So that's probably, it would have done him better than had he actually got into Q3. Because let's face it, if he'd got into Q3, he would have finished 10th. But starting 10th on a free set of tyres was dreamland for Williams, and then a pneumatic issue meant that their race was abruptly ended. So
not a great weekend for him.
No, that kind of sucked. Any other noteworthy performances?
I think we just go into the race now.
Ferraris are 1-1 again, so not one making it into Q3 and one not. So there's a lot of teams doing that at the minute. Right, so the race, we're going to do what we did last week, and we're going to go through it in team order, but this time we're just going to go down in constructor standing order. So we're going to start with Red Bull.
Solid weekend. They did best they could with Perez.
Yeah, I think the only complaint, albeit minor, you'd have is that Perez qualified behind Lando. I think had Perez qualified in front of Lando, probably wouldn't have been held up by him for so long. Maybe could have taken the fight to Bottas.
Yeah, I think if he'd had an extra lap, he would have taken him.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. If he hadn't been held up, he wouldn't have needed that extra lap, and he probably would have been in front of him.
Yeah, true.
2 or 3 laps earlier had he qualified in front. So I feel like that's one that Sergio is going to want to improve on.
But I feel like back markers, because there was quite a while where they were both stuck behind Daniel Ricciardo.
Yeah.
So that didn't help either. So I think that also stopped him from overtaking a bit, because it was either they were both stuck behind Daniel Ricciardo or Valtteri was in front, and it was like Daniel was in the middle of the two of them.
Yeah.
So I can't exactly remember which one it was, but that stopped them for a while.
It's the sort of problem you get on a track with such a short lap time, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially when you have such a vast disparity between the best team and the worst team. I mean, we'll cover it when we get onto bingo. in terms of how little time it takes. But yeah, other than that, Max pulled away from the front quite comfortably.
Did it quite quickly as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he got out of DRS range before DRS even came online.
Yeah.
And then once Perez had cleared Norris, I mean, he was kind of keeping pace with Bottas, but Max and Lewis were just out on their own. So yeah, it was a very different race in that respect. It was very much them two and us two sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
I
think that's probably how it's going to be for the rest of it. Is just going to be Max and Lewis, Valtteri and Sergio, everyone else.
That's the thing, though. That's why they got Sergio, because like Baku proved that when Max isn't there, Sergio is. So that's one thing Red Bull currently have over Mercedes is the reliance of Sergio.
That could be one of the reasons why they are doing so well. Is they've got two reliable drivers. Like, I love Alex, but they have two reliable drivers, and they have Alex, who has had time in the car as a test and reserve driver, so he's working on the simulator. So they actually have a driver who knows what it's like to race in that car as well. So like that's definitely helped them a lot. Like, even Sergio has said, I think maybe after Baku, that Alex has helped a lot.
Yeah.
So that's definitely helped Red Bull.
That's the thing, because that was going back to the Anthony Davidson feature I was talking about. That was the first time he's driven the W12, even though he's their simulator driver anyway. Like, yes, he works for Sky and he reports to them, but he's also a Mercedes sim driver. But that was the first time he's actually driven the car, and he said that he can then take that back to the sim and actually improve what he can bring from the simulator. So I find it quite surprising that most teams don't at least give drivers a run, not necessarily in the current car because of the testing stipulations and limitations, but like last year's car, the year before, something close.
I think with testing, there has to be 2 years before they can use the car for testing. Like Romain Grosjean, he's using the W10, and that's been 2 years since they last used it for racing. And you see in all the Red Bull videos, like in Turkey last year, they used must have been 2018 or 17 car with the AlphaTauri, which obviously didn't exist, but they read the delivery.
Yeah. So it's it's just any experience in an actual car is always going to help you in terms of a sim.
Yeah, that's why I think Alex is really helping Red Bull and why they're doing so well, because Alex has definitely had time in the car for a year and a half.
Yeah.
And before they didn't have that, so.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah,
none of the teams have that apart from Red Bull now.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, I think it's just one of those things that will help give them that extra step.
Oh yeah, Alpine, but he was in the
Kvyat's experiences with the AlphaTauri car, which, I mean,
it's different.
It's different, but
it's not exactly chalk and cheese, but at the same time, it's not.
He knows what it's like to race in an F1 car rather than Anthony Davidson, as you said, like modern F1 car.
Yeah, because it's been a while since Ant was in. So whereas Kvyat only stopped racing last year. So
yeah, that's why I think it's a good thing to get like old drivers to be reserved or simulator drivers, because they know what it's like to race in modern cars.
Yeah. By that token, I'm surprised that nobody made advantage of like Nico Hulkenberg and gave him a sim job. I know he's like a reserve driver and super sub essentially, but at the same time, he has such a vast expanse of knowledge across a range of teams that you'd think it'd be invaluable, really.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine the amount of knowledge someone like Kimi could give you, having raced in all of the different regulation changes since the early 2000s. That's
but then again,
unparalleled.
But they can't really help now because they need someone. Obviously, he is driving the car now, so he would be a useful thing. I'm guessing he'd stay with Alfa Romeo or Ferrari, but the knowledge of having all the cars in the past doesn't really help anymore.
Yeah,
like
true.
Obviously he has all the experience, but it doesn't really help now because you need to know what the car is like now.
Yeah,
which obviously he does.
The point I'm trying to make is he knows how the regulation changes have affected the cars.
Oh yeah.
So he might not need as much time in, say, the 2022 car to know how it's going to behave, because he's done various spec changes before.
Argue that for Alonso, Hamilton, Vettel. I'm trying to think of other drivers now. Yeah, like those three, they've been through regulation changes.
Yeah, so they are the drivers that would have an advantage and that sort of thing over drivers like Lando and all the other guys, especially Yuki. Like, he's getting up to speeds with the current car, and now he's being chucked into a new set of regulations if his contract is continued.
Yeah. We're kind of the same for the three rookies.
Yeah.
Because Mick only had one test. He had an FP1 of the test in the Ferrari, the postseason test.
Yeah, because he was supposed to have a second FP1.
Yeah.
Nürburgring did Nürburgring things.
Yeah. And then Yuki did the AlphaTauri as well.
Yeah.
Not sure who Miss Mazepin did Haas. I think Fittipaldi was one of them in the Haas. Don't think Mazepin did.
Mazepin must have done
the season.
Yeah.
Mazepin must have done, because you have to do a certain number of miles or kilometers in an F1 car before you're allowed to get your super license. Yeah. And basically you can just sort of like pay for a test.
Oh yeah, Mazepin's done loads of tests with other teams because he's with Racing Point and Mercedes, I think.
There you go.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Pietro finished off the season, didn't he? And he's their reserve driver.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, I mean, that makes sense, really.
Yeah.
Chuck the reserve driver in. So.
Yeah. Unless you're Williams and you chuck in Boynasani.
I mean, at the end of the season, they chucked in Aiken, so, can't fault them there.
No.
They made the right choice.
Yes.
Now let's hope they make the right one again.
Yeah.
I think that's just about covered it for Red Bull, to be honest.
I think we kind of mixed in Mercedes as well.
Yeah, we'll briefly touch on it.
They were kind of similar.
Yeah, I mean, Bottas had a better qualifying. Hamilton whiffed his last one. I think he got either his tyres had started to go off because he overtook everyone. Nice gentleman's agreement there. Or he got like a bit of a gust of wind or something, but he ran wide at 9 and that completely ruined his lap. But he was down anyway. He was already half a second down to sectors 1 and 2. So he wasn't going to challenge Max's time. And yeah, you have to say that the car looked second best.
Yeah.
I think that's the easiest way to put it.
Toto Wolff said it was like the first time in 8 years they've been off the pace.
Yes, I heard that as well.
It's the first time since the turbo hybrid era started that Mercedes haven't won in 4 races.
Yeah.
So.
And it's Red Bull's first time winning since 2013. Yeah. So.
Since the turbo hybrid era came in. Coincidence.
Hotel Trivago.
Oh God. McLaren, the papayas. Again, a mixed bag.
Yeah, Lando did pretty well. Obviously, he wasn't really going to stand a chance being P3. As much as everyone would have loved it, he wasn't really going to stand a chance.
Yeah, they definitely made the right strategy call to just let those 2 guys past.
Yeah, I think
because they were clearly faster.
Even Lando himself said in Ziggo Sport interview, they were Red Bull and Mercedes. Of course, they were going to pass.
Yeah.
And then Daniel's power issue.
Yeah, that was unlucky. Overtaking 4 cars on the first lap, and then
he got to P8 or P9, then had a power issue, and then was basically stuck. Stuck like P13 the entire race. So,
yeah, not ideal. Not ideal. Still, we're back at the same track this weekend.
Yeah.
So hopefully there'll be an improvement from that side of the garage. I don't think you can really ask for much more from Lando than P5.
No.
So.
Yeah, I think Lando's like pretty good.
P5 won the top 4 finish, basically.
Yeah, he is literally the best of the rest.
Yeah.
At this point in time, he is the best of the rest.
So
like, you can't really, because he's been, 12 point scores from last season as well? 12 consecutive point scores?
Something like that. But he's still the only driver to score points in every race this season.
He's had mostly P5s apart from 1 P8. So like he's
and a couple of podiums.
And a couple, just chucking like a couple of PCs there. But like, yeah, he's the best of the best right now. Like literally best of the best.
Yeah, Ferrari. Charles Leclerc got voted driver of the day.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
he kind of shot himself in the foot there, really, and I feel like he probably should have been given a penalty.
Yeah, like I see why they've rid him driver of the day, because obviously he come from like last up to P7.
Good recovery drive, but at the same time,
he ruined two people's race.
Yeah, at the same time, he put himself in last in the first place.
Maybe about 2 or 3 people, because
so,
he kind of ruined Nicky's race as well.
He hit Pierre. Pierre hit Giovinazzi, Latifi.
Yeah.
And then Charles almost clipped Kimi as well. So
yeah,
it's not gone well. But at the same time, you know, they finished 6th and 7th at the end of the race.
Yeah, because I swear something like that happened another time and somebody else got a penalty for it, but like now Charles didn't.
Yeah, it is raising some eyebrows, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they've taken it's lap 1 approach, but at the same time, he's literally just tried to cut into the slipstream too early.
Yeah, but also, Carlos coming from P12 to P6,
is a good drive.
I haven't seen many people talk about that. That was a very good drive.
Yeah, so that was what was suggested as alternative driver of the day, because that is a good drive.
That's a very good drive by him.
In a largely incident-free race.
Yeah.
12th to 6th is a good effort.
Yeah, after like maybe the first couple of laps, basically incident-free. So like that's really good.
I think it was it was literally just when George pulled out lap 36 and that was it.
Yeah.
So Aston Martin.
Lance P8, Seb P12.
Got overtaken by Kimi.
Yeah.
He wasn't happy.
Lance started P10, Seb started P12, so they both made up two positions. So decent.
Well, Seb stayed where he was.
Did he?
Well, you said he qualified P12.
I cannot read P14.
Okay, there we go.
Qualified
P14.
Qualified P14. I can't read.
I mean, yeah, 2 places, but at the same time, with Aston Martin's sort of recent form of strategy calls, that kind of sucks. You know, they've gone from getting Seb on the podium to they gained 2, but he still didn't score any points, and he got overtaken by an Alfa Romeo. So yeah, I think there's some questions to be answered in the Aston Martin garage, because they really shouldn't be being overtaken by an Alfa. Well, not an Alfa Romeo, an AlphaTauri maybe.
Yeah.
So many Alphas.
You can't just say Alpha and be like, Tauri or Romeo.
Alpha, please select one of these 4 drivers. But yeah, it's an okay weekend in the grand scheme of things. They got 4 points. Going back to the same track so they can improve. 4 points keeps them within touching distance of AlphaTauri. So they're only 2 points behind AlphaTauri now. So actually they closed the gap to AlphaTauri this week, because AlphaTauri only got 1 point. So I mean, well, actually, let's move on to AlphaTauri, because that is a mixed bag and a half. Gasly qualifying 6th, I want to say.
I think it's Gasly 6th, Tsunoda P8.
Okay, so Tsunoda's dropped 2, and Gasly's DNF.
Yeah,
it's disappointing for him, especially what happened to Gasly.
Yeah, like Gasly's weekend, it was like kind of high. He was doing pretty like average for him now. He's like P6, then DNF through no fault of his own. It's like,
honestly, I think if he hadn't had that DNF, he would have been fighting Carlos for P6.
Yeah.
So it's it's a bitter one, that, but you know, as I've said before, and we'll probably end up saying at least 3 or 4 more times this week, they're back at the same track this weekend.
Yeah.
So they have another chance to go again.
Yeah.
It was good for Yuki though.
Yes.
Considering got into Q3.
Yeah,
got into Q3, got another point. So, you know, it's progress, you know, steps. It's going in the right direction at least. He's scoring. So
yeah.
If he can keep building on that, he'll do all right. Who's next? Seeing as I did those two out of order. Alpine. Again, a mixed bag of a weekend with Esteban going out in Q1.
Yeah.
But Alonso making Q3.
Fernando got P9, Esteban got P14 in the race. And then qualifying, Fernando P9, Esteban P17.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it in the race, didn't we? It was the train conducted by Alonso.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think there's some work need to be done from the Alpine team there. Because when George Russell is sniffing around trying to get an overtake, your car's slow. So, I mean, the Williams is quick in a straight line when there's no wind, but at the same time, that's slow. So yeah, in many respects, Alonso's done a great job dragging that car up to P9,
and he did a good job. Yeah, keeping everyone behind as well for like quite a while.
Yeah,
but also,
I mean, Esteban's made up 3 places, but you know, you look at the people he's overtaken, and it's like Giovinazzi, Schumacher, and Latifi.
Yeah, and
he should be getting past them anyway.
Yeah.
Well, Latifi and Giovinazzi had contact anyway, so.
Well, yeah, they had to pit, so they were behind him before he even had a chance. So, you know, yeah, he was in front of them anyway, but he should have been in front of them in the first place.
Yeah.
So yeah, a mixed bag of a weekend. 2 more points for Alpine. They're 13 points behind Aston Martin now. So
not great.
No, they're falling off the back end of that battle. But, you know, they're comfortably ahead of Alfa Romeo, who still only have 2 points. So you can look at it in one of 2 ways of they're pretty much at least guaranteed 7th. But they're falling off the pace of 6th and 5th.
Yeah, they still want to be up in 6th and 5th, so they'll be disappointed.
Because last year Alpine were fighting for P3 at some points, and now they're down in P7. Like, maybe it was like because no hate to like Alonso, but like maybe it was because Daniel was in the team and he'd been there for a year already.
Yeah, he was settled. So
yeah, but like still, Fernando's a 2-time world champion. Obviously, he's been retired for 2 years, but he's still been racing, and he was still part of the team last year. So like, and it's also, was it race 7? Yeah, race 7. So like, Esteban, you've just been re-signed for like another 3 years.
You can't even get
maybe show it. Maybe show it.
Yeah, it's not been a great weekend.
Yeah.
So still, hopefully, Esteban can bounce back.
Let's hope so.
For my fantasy team's sake. Next up, Alfa Romeo. Giovinazzi P15, Kimi P11 again. Obviously, Giovinazzi had the contact, so that kind of scuppered his race from the get-go. But again,
qualifying, Giovinazzi P15, Raikkonen P18. So Kimi did quite well.
Yeah, up 7. That's decent.
Yeah.
I mean, it's again, you know, it's the Alphas. They're always just sort of on the fringes of the points.
Yeah, they're like there, like that's kind of where they want to be, but they kind of always obviously they want to be that little bit better, but that's kind of where they really are, just P11.
Yeah,
they're always somehow
one
there.
DNF further up the field, and that's a point.
Yeah, like they're always somehow there. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's weird how they're consistently 11th.
Yeah.
I mean, Kimi even overtook Vettel to get to 11th, so he really wanted that P11. But at the same time, with the amount of P11s they've got, I don't think Williams or Haas are going to overtake them unless they legitimately outscore them.
Yeah, unless George does like a
unless George hoops like 4 points in one
yeah,
go.
Unless George is like a godsend drive and does like P8 twice, be like, and then they don't. Alfa Romeo doesn't score any other points. Be like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one. I think that bottom 3 is close, but in sort of all the wrong ways.
Yeah.
It's who got the least scoring finish.
Yeah. Who positioned higher but scored no points.
Yeah. So yeah, it's one of the weird nuances of Formula One, but still it works. So not going to complain. So that's Alfa Romeo. Williams, I mean, we've talked about George. That's gutting. Qualifying 11th, being promoted onto the grid to 10th because of penalty, and then getting up into P8 and then actually holding his own.
And then having to DNF through no fault of his own.
Yeah. That is just the kind of luck that George has in the Williams. And then, Nicholas is Nicholas, and he was 3 laps down. I mean, in fairness, he was involved in the first lap incident, but at the same time, he is always sort of there or thereabouts.
Yeah, sometimes he does good and gets like maybe like P13 lower, something like that, but that's not very often.
No.
Maybe on like a track he did last year. This track.
This one twice last year.
Yeah, he did this one twice last year. Maybe on a track he did last year, or he knows like well from junior formulas, but like he's not doing great.
Which doesn't bode well for next year if they do indeed lose George.
Yeah.
And then that brings us lastly onto Haas. 16th and 18th. I mean, they didn't really overtake per se anyone except the guys that DNF'd.
Yeah.
So again, it was sort of a standard weekend.
Mick overtook Nicholas. Nicholas overtook Mazepin, or depending on how you see it. So like, what does that say about Mick, or what does that say about Mazepin? Depending, because I don't actually know which situation it was, whether Mick overtook him or
Nikita was in front for a while earlier in the race, and then
he got overtaken by Mazepin. Yeah,
and then finished a whole lap behind.
Yeah, so and he's there for multiple years.
Yay! Insert sarcasm here. I mean, that about wraps it up for the race, really. I mean,
wasn't very exciting.
Wasn't enthralling. I think most of the stories of this weekend are of bad luck.
Yeah.
Gasly, George, and Danny being the main 3. So
and kind of Yuki and Bottas both getting penalties, but like they kind of made them.
I mean, I feel more sorry for Yuki, to be honest, because that's kind of annoying. But Bottas dropping it in the pit lane, no.
That was his fault.
Yeah, it's also a big no.
Yeah. I still love how the McLaren pit crew didn't do anything until he started moving forward towards the front wings. Yeah, they're like, oh no.
Still, at least they helped him rather than the Mercedes pit crew who just kind of stood there and watched.
You know that meme of that cat who's like looking over the ice and what the f*** are they doing over there?
To me, it's more like the woman and the child in the swimming pool, and then there's a child drowning.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So,
it's that the Bottas spinning, just like zooming in on the McLaren crew, just what name is he doing? That's what I keep thinking of every time. Have fun editing this.
I will.
But...
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that was the race, really, wasn't it? It was a bit of a parade. It was mostly DRS overtakes, which kind of highlights the problem of DRS in a way, because everyone gets the same boost at the same point. I've heard people talking about sort of the Kerr's push to overtake thing that we had. I think it was in 2009. It was the Brawn GP title winning year, so Jenson Button's year, where you have a battery allowance of extra boost in kind of the same way that you have battery boost as it is. But you had an allowance that you were allowed to use over the course of a lap, but you got to choose when you used it.
Was like the overtake button on the game.
Yeah,
Exactly.
But that was instead of DRS. So
yeah, I was watching the Quadrant Hot Wings video, and I think it was Arav saying how they need to make the cars lighter. I think to like just get rid of DRS, like just it was Steve. I think I can't remember who it was, but it was one of them saying something needs to change to the point where they can just get rid of DRS.
Yeah,
it's like
I think the 2022 regs are a step in the right direction because the amount of dirty air that they chuck out is significantly reduced, or in theory at least. Watch it go the absolute opposite direction. But that would, in theory, allow cars to be closer even without DRS. So if that does work, maybe in a few years' time, we just don't even need it. So
let's hope so.
You never know. And by that point, we'll be racing at Agora Drive.
Then again, it is the FIA. They'd be like, no.
Yeah, exactly. So. And then Max's burnout finish that Michael Massey says will never happen again because no burnouts on the pit straight.
Yeah.
Even though it took him like 2 minutes to deploy a safety car in Baku when Max is stood in the middle of the road.
I do kind of see his point, like Michael Massey's point, but also Max was 30 seconds ahead of the car and behind him.
There was literally no one around him except like a car that was unlapping itself essentially, and it's like he was on the other side of the track anyway, and just let it go. People
coming towards the pit straight by the finish line can see him there.
Exactly, he's on the inside. He's not on the racing line.
Yeah, they'll be able to see him there, so like they can just But I think someone on Twitter said something like Lewis did it. I think it must have been like before Liberty Media because the leaderboard and timing stuff looked different, and Lewis did it with like maybe you could see the cars coming up behind him, so it's like I don't think anything happened then, but like
it could have been back in Charlie Whiting's day, to be fair.
I think someone mentioned Charlie, so I'm guessing it was.
Charlie was chill, you could celebrate, but don't be a prick.
Don't be an idiot. Yeah.
So
like with Max's one, there was no one behind him.
Yeah, exactly. So just chill out. Michael, chill.
As long as like he didn't go too over the top and do like a donut for everyone else.
Yeah, exactly. Like he understood that there was still other cars on the track, so he just did a burnout in a straight line.
Yeah.
It's not like he's gone and done a Mexico City donuts in the stadium section. So, I think it's a bit pointless and needless to go, it will never happen again, just because he's done a burnout. So that's my opinion on it. It was a bit needless. Let him celebrate. He's just driven for an hour and a half and won a race. That's the closest thing he's got to a home Grand Prix at the minute, because we haven't had Zandvoort yet.
When is Zandvoort?
Oh, September.
Yeah, end of September, start of October, that sort of area. So, I mean, it's Red Bull's home race anyway. So.
Oh yeah. That's one reason probably Max celebrated, because it's a home race.
Yeah, it was actually Red Bull's first pole position at the Red Bull Ring.
Was it?
Yeah.
Wasn't it Helmut Marko's like 50th race? No, 50th anniversary for being in Formula One.
No idea, but
because I think that's why he was on the podium.
That guy needs a different shirt. That was not the wet t-shirt contest I wanted. Just gonna put that one out there. If you don't like old men, do not watch the podium celebration back. You have been warned. That's my PSA for this week.
I think that's why he was on the podium. Because he's like 50
he's been on the podium a lot this year. I'm sure he's been up there already this year.
Helmut Marko?
Yeah. I'm sure I've seen him up there.
Was he up there at Imola?
Might have been, yeah. So,
I don't remember. I don't remember.
I mean, it's not really the person I pay attention to be
honest.
Yeah. Where's Helmut? Go on.
Everyone just starts raging like, where's Helmut? God damn it.
Where's our pot stirrer? Come on. Give us more content. It's been a pretty quiet week in that respect, actually.
Where's gossip number 2 of the paddock?
Like, there wasn't really that much drama outside the.
I think everyone is just waiting for the flexi wing thing.
Well, it seems pretty much done and dusted now because
Yeah,
they've changed their wings.
Mercedes
And
just
Red Bull is still
accepted
faster.
that they're slower. So, sod it.
It seems to be because the radio message between Lewis and Bono was sort of like, oh, there's just it's 0.3 faster. It's like, where are they getting that? Straight line speed. So it seems to be that the Mercedes just run more downforce. Because I refuse to believe that the Honda engine is already more powerful than the Mercedes engine.
And then Honda are leaving this year.
But I very much do believe that Adrian Newey knows how to design a race car that works well with the air. So they can trim downforce off and still maintain the speed.
And, and also Mercedes have stopped developing this year's car.
Because maybe they want to rethink that.
Yeah, because of the cost cap. So they've had to put all their money into next year's car.
So they don't know how to budget, is what we're saying.
Basically, yeah.
Good. That means it's going to be a one-horse race next year, and then everyone's going to catch up, and they're going to be screwed.
Yeah, I think it was on the commentary that on the first season of the new regs, if they don't do well, they're going to struggle for the rest of it. I think I remember someone saying that towards Haas. If they don't do well the first year, they're going to struggle for the rest of the next couple of years until like 2025.
Oh yeah, that's they've signed the Concord agreement until then, so they kind of have to be here till then.
Yeah. But
I'm sure there's obviously some like legal bankruptcy loophole that they can file, but I don't think Mazepin's dad's going to run out of money anytime soon.
Nope.
He'll probably just buy the team himself, wouldn't he? So.
In Haas's sake, they better not.
I mean, Gene Haas probably is just like done with it at this point.
Oh yeah, he's probably he's I think basically from the start he's been more focused on NASCAR.
Yeah, it's probably because he's had more success over there.
Yeah.
And from that respect, I can't really blame him.
No.
Like he had the season that they finished P5 in the constructors, and then it's gone downhill. So pull the plug, stop wasting your money on it, sort of thing. It's all about return, and he's not seeing any return. It's just a whole lot of pain.
It would have been a lot better if they kept like Magnussen or Grosjean and then had Mick as well. It would have been a lot more beneficial because Grosjean got points. I'm not sure if both of them did or it was just Grosjean got points last year.
Not entirely sure.
Yeah, I know they did definitely get points, and I know Grosjean did get points. I'm not sure.
I think they both did because Magnussen did in Hungary.
Oh, okay. So they both did get points. It would have been beneficial to keep one of them and then have Mick in the car or Mazepin if they wanted the money.
Yeah.
Because even if they did just have, so for example, like I've been saying, Grosjean and Mick, more sponsors would have been coming in, really.
Yeah.
Than Mazepin because no one wants to be associated with him.
Not particularly.
No.
So, yeah, they got 3 points last year. Grosjean got 2. Magnussen got 1. So, but yeah, shall we do the driver's standings? And then we'll take it from there. So, I'll just run through it. I'll not do a speed review this time because that was stress last time. But this week we have the added benefit of only 2 people changing positions. So it's nice and simple. So in last place, that's 20th. Nicholas Latifi on 0 points. 19th is Nikita Mazepin, also on 0 points. 18th, Mick Schumacher, again on 0 points. 17th, George Russell, 0 points. 16th, Antonio Giovinazzi on 1 point. 15th is Kimi Räikkönen on 1 point. 14th is Yuki Tsunoda on 9 points. Down 1 to 13th is Esteban Ocon on 12 points. And then up 1 into 12th is Lance Stroll on 14 points. 11th is Fernando Alonso on 19 points. 10th is Sebastian Vettel on 30 points. 9th is Danny Ricciardo on 34 points. 8th is Pierre Gasly on 37 points. 7th is Carlos Sainz on 50 points. 6th is Charles Leclerc on 58 points. 5th is Valtteri Bottas on 74 points. 4th is Lando Norris on 86 points. 3rd is Sergio Perez on 96 points. And second is Lewis Hamilton on 138, leaving Max Verstappen still in first and extending his lead. And he is on 156 points.
Constructors, right. Luckily for me, no one has changed, so that's good. In 10th, we have surprise, surprise, Haas on 0 points. 9th, Williams, again, surprise, surprise, on 0 points. 8th, Alfa Romeo on still 2 points. 7th, Alpine on 31 points. 6th, Aston Martin on 44 points. 5th, AlphaTauri on 46 points. 4th, Ferrari on 108 points. 3rd, McLaren on 120. Second, Mercedes, 212 points. My brain just didn't work for Mercedes. And first, it's Red Bull Racing with 252 points. My brain just didn't work when I wanted to say 2.
Yeah, got it out eventually.
My brain was just like, no, I don't want to say this.
As for podium predictions, we had a very mixed bag this week, actually. Ben, you did the worst out of everyone. She scored 2 points this week. Then Sonia did the next worst, scoring 4 points, and all 4 of her points came from Max Verstappen because she guessed that he would be on pole and that he would win. Then myself, Nia, and Alex all scored 7 points because we all said that Verstappen would get pole and Verstappen and Hamilton would finish 1-2. But Chris got 15 points this week for a complete correct podium, but he missed out on the extra point because he said Hamilton would get pole. So that means that the standings have changed. So in 6th place remains Chris, but he is somewhat closer to the rest of the field. In 5th place and down 2 is Ben on 33 points. In 4th place and up 1 is Alex on 35 points. In 3rd place and up 1 is Nia on 37 points. In 2nd place and down 1 is Sonia on 44 points, which means in 1st place and up 1 is myself on 46 points. Definitely not rigged.
I'm a full race behind you within 2 races.
That is how you say a crash and burn of epic proportions.
Yeah.
So you gotta stop putting like random drivers on the podium, man. Like your Danny Rick really did not help you out there.
Should we go into F1 fantasy then?
We got our bold predictions to go through. Social media as well,
sorry.
actually.
I'm running ahead now.
So this week's social media winner was Handle93, who scored 6 points because they said that Verstappen and Hamilton would finish 1-2. And joint second was Lily and _KR_45, who both got 5 points. And my mate Matt got 1 point. Womp womp. Bold predictions we did. Alex said Red Bull and Mercedes contact. Didn't see any of that. Try as Bottas might in the pit lane. Ben, you oof. George Russell points. Oof.
Oh,
that was close.
It's looking so good. So good. And
it's
then,
not been
rumbles.
Not got a good predictions thing for this, has you?
No,
Has it?
Oh, it's not even got started yet.
Chris said there was going to be a red flag. There wasn't. Nia, unexpected DNF.
Gasly.
I mean, once you saw what happens, you kind of expected it at that point. I think George's, but then George's, once you saw that he was getting the top up, you kind of expected it because they sent him back out and then he came back in again. So I'll give you 50-50 on that.
Half point, please.
And then I said dry F1, but wet W Series, which wasn't right.
No.
Because it rained after the Formula One had finished. And W Series raced on the Saturday, not the Sunday. And my mate Matt said that Verstappen with DNF caused by Tsunoda, and that definitely did not happen. So definitely no points for that. What else we got? Oh, Mazepin Bingo. I believe I won this week, actually.
Rigged.
Well, I didn't get it all right. In
Right.
fairness, Nia was the closest in terms of accuracy on laps, because he did finish. He was lapped on lap 22/23 in the pit lane, and he finished 3 laps down. So you said 25 laps, so that's closest. But you said he wouldn't finish. I said he would finish, and he'd finish 2 laps down. 2 laps being the closest guess of anyone else, me and Chris, but I had the closer on the laps. So on that front, I edged him out slightly because Chris said lap 32. So I was closer in that respect. So I won.
Rigged.
Yeah, I paid Mazepin off because I can afford that. And then, yeah, fantasy now.
Oh, yep. It's me. I can already see Ben's. Right, you can see that. Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So number 1 is Ben with still because you didn't use a Mega Drive for that one, did you? No.
He used it. He
used
his in Monaco.
If I did, it's even worse than I thought.
Then we got Richard in second, Richard in third, Richard in fourth.
Got that monopoly on the top half of the pile.
Me in 5th and 6th, Chris in 7th, and Alex in 8th.
Nobody changed position this week.
No.
It's as it was.
Yeah.
I think I've slightly closed the gap, but I used a Mega Driver, so
yeah, you definitely closed the gap.
Yeah, it's just 200 just over 100
points. Yeah,
just over 100 points
instead of 220 that it was going into this week. Thanks, Max.
There we go. When the Mega Drivers come, we can use Mega Drivers again.
Soon, I think.
Start of Spa, I think.
I thought it was sooner than that.
I hope so, because I hated Baku.
Because we had to use the first one by this week, didn't we? I think there was something. It was something like that. We had to use one of them by a certain point in the calendar.
I did and got it completely wrong. I'm still not over that, and you're never going to hear the end of it. Not happy.
So, this weekend we had the well, it's not the inaugural round, the opening round of the 2021 W Series. It's supporting the Formula One calendar for the first time. It's only in its 2nd season, and for those who don't know, it's a spec series. So all the cars are provided by the actual competition itself, and you're not allowed to develop them.
And it's the first season they're allowing super license points. So this year the champion is going to be like Formula 2 and Formula 3. The champion won't be able to continue next year. That's why, there are a lot of people wondering why Jamie Chadwick was allowed to continue this year. It's because they didn't allow super license points that year. So
but the fact that it's a spec series does make it close in racing. We do love that, and it really does bring out the best racing in people. And as I've probably said a few times already on the previous episode of the podcast, I really want all of the F1 drivers in W Series cars, because then we'll actually get an answer on who's best. But this weekend,
or even just Formula 2.
Well, yeah, really. This weekend was Alice Powell's weekend. First in practice, first in qualifying, first in the race, led every lap. So that's it, done.
It was
Job done.
Very good weekend for her. It was quite unlucky for Jamie Chadwick because she had
much
more
something up and down. I had notes on this.
She had something wrong in qualifying. She got 4th, I think, in practice. Got something wrong in qualifying, so she started 8th. Then made up positions, then got punted by Jessica Hawkins, I think, and then got punted by Jessica Hawkins, and then made it back up to P6 made it up to P7 and then got promoted to P6 because of Jessica's penalty.
Yeah, so Jamie Chadwick had a turbo issue in qualifying, which hindered her slightly. I mean, it was pretty close, to be honest. If you look at the drivers who qualified 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, they're all 129.3.
Oh well.
And 8th there is 1:29.333. So that's, there's 4 drivers within a third of a second of each other. So that's, that's close. And the one at the back had a dodgy turbo.
Yeah.
So my weekend comments were, Powell looked comfortable at the front. Chadwick was unlucky again when she got punted, and then very lucky with the late safety car.
Yeah.
Because that bunched the field right back up and meant that she got some good overtakings done.
It was a good weekend for Sarah Moore as well, because it's her first podium in W Series, and she's the first openly LGBTQ person to be on a podium in an F1 weekend. So that's very good.
Bonus.
Yeah.
I don't want to get this wrong, but at the same time, I feel like it is the first time we've had someone from Liechtenstein on the podium.
I think it could be.
It's not a flag you see that often. That's the thing.
No, she's racing under a Swiss flag.
She races under a Swiss license, but she still flies. She still flies the Liechtenstein flag because Liechtenstein's too small. It doesn't have its own motor governing body, so she has to go elsewhere to get her racing license.
Yeah,
but that's why she's still allowed to race under her native flag. Whereas we had Alex Albon, who was born and raised in the UK, but still races under a Thai flag because that's where he got his license. So done. Yes, then Jess Hawkins, who punted off Jamie Chadwick. I mean, you look at it, it was definitely just like a cold brakes, cold tires sort of thing. Yeah. She definitely didn't mean to do that. I mean, nobody means to punt someone like that. But equally, it was a warranted penalty.
Was it Jess's car? Like the front wing was, but I'm guessing because of it, the front wing was broken, and at some point it literally flew off and hit someone.
No, that was another driver. I had a tweet about that. I can't remember who it was, but I tweeted semi-questioningly, angrily over why it wasn't given the mechanical issue flag. Kim Alainen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she had her front wing was pretty much just
dragging on the floor. Yeah, she lost quite a few positions.
She was losing places left, right, and centre, and then coming down the straight to turn 1, it just came off.
Yeah, it almost hit. It almost hit a Veloce car. I'm not exactly sure which one. Yeah, because I don't. It might have been. I don't know. Not Chadwick. The other. I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name. And I can't remember her last name or her name.
See, the thing is, on the results page, it doesn't actually tell you which team they drive for.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. For the first time, they're doing teams. They still have identical cars. It's just liveries basically.
Yeah.
Veloce. Bruno Tomaselli.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah, I think it almost hit her. I don't know whether it was Chadwick or Tomaselli.
I think at that point in the race.
I think it was Tomaselli. Yeah, I saw the emerald green. I was like, oh no.
But at the same time, I mean, you've seen cars pulled in for less, and that front wing was dangerous, even when it was only like half hanging there.
Yeah, when they go down the straight, it just flew up in the air.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it flew out towards the catch fencing as well, so it went towards the crowd. Yeah. So not ideal, but
luckily no one was hurt.
Yeah, but funny how Michael Massey doesn't slap down on that.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's not his sport, but he's still there for the weekend, and it's a support series, so you've got to do your job. But overall, I'd say it's a good first weekend of W Series.
Yeah.
They're back again with us this weekend in Austria, but we're also joined by Formula 3.
Yeah. I think so, yeah.
So that means we have even more racing to bring you next week, which is just going to be carnage, I think.
But it'll just be a review, so.
Yeah, but at the same time, Formula 3 around Austria, imagine the qualifying session there. There's a lot of cars and not a lot of track. So, and they don't do Q1, Q2, Q3 like Formula 1 does. They just have a 30-minute session and say go.
Oh.
So Yeah, it's a great watch, honestly, because it is who can get the lap in at the right time. Because you can just go out straight away and get a lap in once you've done a couple of laps of tyre warm up. But then the track rubbers in so much over the course of the half hour that you really want to be going as late as possible. But then you see some people go out, but you see a lot of people go out, and then there's a nice gap in the middle, and that's when you see some brave soul try it, and it's really hit and miss on that one. So yeah, qualifying's definitely worth a watch for Formula 3. Obviously we'll have all of the race brief reviews that we do on here to bring you next week, but that should be a good watch, I'd imagine.
Hopefully everyone will be back here next week, so we'll have 5 of us again.
Yes. That'd be nice. We're back to full quota. So, but then we'll rebrand as the 10-3 podcast for this week. So, actually, an overtaking opportunity at the Red Bull Ring.
Spin-off series.
we're going rogue.
We just change the logo every time one of us isn't here. or if we have a guest, which is the Turn 6 podcast.
I'd have to go back and edit the one with Sonia. Oh, God. Right, so
from now on.
Austria predictions.
We have to make predictions.
Well, you've already sent me it, so you can't say no now.
Oh, God.
Let's do the easy bit. Everyone except Sonia has said that Verstappen will get pole, and Sonia said Hamilton will get pole. So, in terms of podiums, Alex has sent his in as Verstappen, Perez, Hamilton. Ben, you sent over Verstappen, Bottas, Perez. Chris sent in Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas. El Clasico, Ham Verbot. Me and Nia have gone exactly the same as last week, because why change? And Sonia has gone for the dream of Verstappen, Hamilton, Norris. So, I mean, he's not far away, but I don't think that much is going to change in a week to get Norris on the podium.
Be honest, I kind of forgot Alex existed and thought you were talking about Alex Albon. I was like, what?
Oh yeah, we've got Alex Albon sending his predictions.
I'm just like,
this
what?
is why we're going rogue.
We're going to get some high quality content in. We've got Alex Albon. I've lined up Will Buxton. He's coming in a couple of weeks' time, definitely. Still waiting on his agency.
For legal reasons, this is a joke.
Yes, we do not have Will Buxton and or Alex Albon lined up as special guests.
I genuinely thought, like, Alex Albon? What?
He's busy in DTM.
Well, no, he's in the Red Bulling now. He was at Red Bulling.
He had his DTM race. But...
yeah.
Bold predictions. Alex has said that there'll be a 70% chance of rain for the race, but it won't actually rain. And Chris has...
Sounds about right.
Chris has phoned his in as rain. That was it. Just rain. One word. Ben, what have you opted for?
There'll be a safety car.
Actually going to have a safety car this week. Okay. Nia, are you going to stick with your ambiguous, or are you actually going to like...
Oh, I had something in my head, but I can't remember what I was going to say. So you go first and I'll try and remember what I was going to say.
Damn it, I was using you as a stalling tactic.
Well, we can just cut this bit out and just like try and think of one.
This is true, but I do just kind of want to think of one. Alfa Romeo to score a point. That's going to be mine. Alfa are going to score a point this week. At least 1 point.
You know what? George Q3.
Ooh, we like.
Because that way I'm not necessarily damaging his points race. I'm just maybe damaging his qualifying.
You're just damaging his strategy.
Yes, but qualifying isn't so bad.
True.
So, George Q3.
Very true.
Swear turn into Mr. Sunday.
Yeah.
The 1 week he doesn't out-qualify the team.
Yeah.
And that leads us on to Mazepin Bingo.
Woo.
So Alex has said that Mazepin will finish the race. He will first be lapped on lap 22 of... They're still doing 71, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, 71.
It's
And he will
same
finish
track.
a total of 3 laps down. Yeah, but they're changing the tyres, you never know. Might just chuck an extra lap in.
They go by
Spice it up.
distance. They go by distance.
Ben, what do you reckon?
He will finish. He'll finish 2 laps down, and he get lapped on. He won't finish a lap down actually,
Oh,
because there'd be a safety car near the end,
tying in.
and then.
Oh.
But if he's 2 laps down before the safety car comes out and he's allowed to unlap himself,
Then it'd be 1 lap down.
So,
Oh God!
do you want a
It'd
0 or a 1?
Put 1. It'd be
There you
lapped
go.
on
See,
lap
sowing
28.
the seeds of doubt, and now he's actually going to finish on a lead lap. 28, did you say?
Yeah.
Okay. Chris said he will finish. It'll be lap 30 when he first gets lapped, and he will only finish 1 lap down. Nia.
I'm going basically the same as last week, except I'm saying he will finish.
Okay.
Lap 25. 3 laps down.
2 laps. 2 laps or 3 laps?
3.
3 laps. My old man hearing. I have said that he will finish. He will first get lapped on lap 20 because I'm hoping the softer tyres will encourage a more aggressive strategy. Whereas I feel like Chris has gone the other way, and as the softer tyres will encourage a more slow-paced one stopper. And then he will finish 3 laps down. That's my guess. So we will see. So that's all for Austria's predictions. In the wider world of F1, we have some FP1 news runners near.
Yeah, for Alfa Romeo, Callum Ilott is running Raikkonen's car, I think. I'm not.
Raikkonen loves a lay-in.
Yeah, I'm not sure whose car he's taken over, but he is doing FP1, and so is Guan Yu Zhou. But Guan Yu Zhou's taken over Alonso's car, so
given last week's performances, I feel like that's the right decision.
Yeah, but we've got 5 of the last year's F2 grid back on the grid, but an F1 this time,
which is always good. We like to see progression.
Yes.
And
although he's an Alpine Academy driver, so he's probably not going to get a drive for till 2025.
Yeah,
we don't talk about that.
Which is going to be awkward if he wins the championship and then can't race in F2 either.
Nick de Vries 2.0.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, do it.
In other news, wait, did we tell everyone that the calendar slot got filled by Turkey?
No.
The calendar slot has been filled by Turkey.
Yeah, Singapore has been taken over by Turkey.
So yeah, Woo. It invokes the meme that I love. So yeah, when every other track gets cancelled, that's kind of tough. But you know, Turkey got cancelled and now it's back, so that's kind of.
Except Turkey makes a brand new Turkey.
Turkey does indeed make a brand new Turkey. So we'll be going to Turkey in the Singapore slot instead of Singapore.
Oh God.
Love a good meme.
Oh God.
It's a very old video, but it's funny, and it's 20 minutes long, so it's a great way to waste time. And the other piece of news regarding tracks is that Russia is ditching the Sochi Autodrome. Hallelujah. So yeah, my constant emails to Jean Todt have finally paid off, and he actually listened to our Dream Circuits episode and took on my advice of keeping the Russian Grand Prix, but you know, using one of the other tracks. And they're going to Agora Drive, which I believe is in St. Petersburg, or near St. Petersburg.
It's where Robert Schwartzman's from.
There you go. So yeah, that will be from 23 onwards, I think was the news.
I think it was 23.
So got, sadly, a couple more years of Sochi Autodrome, but the glistening hope on the horizon of a different circuit. So, I mean, that'll be nice. I mean, everyone's bashed Sochi enough, so let's go and bash something else instead.
What happens if Sochi does a Paul Ricard though?
My more worry is what if Agora Drive does a Sochi,
Yeah.
Like, do we just ditch Russia at that point? I feel like that would be the best move. But at the same time, I feel like Russia pays a lot of money to be there. So it's going to be an awkward one. But still, thanks, Sean. Love the support. Please do keep listening to our suggestions. And yeah, we do love to be in the ear of the FIA. For legal reasons, that's definitely a joke. And I'm totally not in like Michael Messi's or Jean Todd's ear.
Unless he's watching.
Unless he's watching.
If you are watching.
If you are watching, then
Hello.
please do take our advice.
Yeah, if you are watching, please
definitely
do
know what's
subscribe.
best for the sport. And share it amongst the FIA HQ. Thanks. We'd love some subscribers.
If you are watching, please sub with the F1 account. Cheers.
That would be absolute scenes.
Why
cancelled for moaning about track limits.
Yeah. Why is
A
it
2-hour episode of us just rambling on.
Why is the official F1 account just followed a random podcast?
Totally unbiased. Don't know what you're talking about.
Michael Massey just sat there on his phone, just like, I don't know what you're talking about.
It'd be like the Pope's Instagram all over again.
Yeah, it literally would be.
Oh God. Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that just about wraps it up for this week. I think we've covered everything and then some.
We're gonna wrap it up on the Pope's Instagram.
Where else could you wrap up a podcast about Formula One? Let's be real.
Formula One, ideally.
The man doesn't care. He does what he wants.
So yes, we will be watching along for the Austrian Grand Prix because they swapped the order this year. Just because Austria was always going to be this weekend. So yes, we have Formula One, W Series and Formula 3 to look forward to, and we will see you next week at the same time. If you're watching on YouTube, drop us a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave us a comment, tell us how we're doing.
Please.
If you're listening on Spotify, drop us a follow. If you're listening on Apple, drop us a 5-star rating and a subscription. Google Podcasts, Breaker, Deezer, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, any other podcast service that we're on, because I know there's at least like 2 more that I've just forgotten. Give us a follow, and thank you very much for listening.
Follow
Goodbye.
us on Twitter as well. Follow us on Twitter.
And yeah, Twitter.
Yeah, follow us on Twitter. You can give us your podium predictions.
Yeah, that's if we actually tweet out asking for him.
Richard.
Hey, look, all right. I forgot. It's hard when there's a double header. I'm thinking, what graphics have I got to make? Not which tweet am I sending? Because normally I leave the other people to do the tweets because I'm at work when the episode goes live. So it's
Usually
not my
Chris that does the tweets.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
Enough bashing of Chris because he's not here. We will see you at the same time next week. Thank you for watching and goodbye.
Bye.